represent over 16,000 members, $430 million in assets under management. We were the first multi-employer pension plan approved by the regulator in the late 1990s. And today, we are still strong, secure, and are here for employees and employers alike. If you would like to join or request further information, visit chamberpension.ky. And for information as it happens, follow us on Facebook, LinkedIn, or Instagram. Email admin@pensions.ky or call 745-7630. The Cayman Islands Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan. We're here for you.
A caring and community spirit, cherished family and cultural values. These are some of the things that still embodies the Caymanian way of life in the Eastern Districts today. Savannah Pharmacy, your neighborhood pharmacy, located in Countryside Shopping Village, is delighted to offer products and services of real value. Whether it's catering to your family's medical needs or carrying apparel, gifts, and beauty products, Savannah Pharmacy provides you with more than just prescriptions. Remember, they're always just around the corner with everything your family needs and convenient opening hours, including Sundays and holidays. Savannah Pharmacy. For more information, call 946-3336.
For the first time in over 45 years, the University College of the Cayman Islands is having an alumni homecoming gala dinner on October 28th. The event highlights the kickoff of the UCCI Alumni Network, a community of professionals helping the university and one another. If you're a UCCI graduate, join the network today and let your fellow classmates know about it. Visit ucci.edu.ky/alumni and come give us a hand with UCCI's first ever homecoming.
Make your house into a home. Welcome to Brand Source Home Gallery, your source for premium products and a premium experience. We'll design and install your dream kitchen with crafted cabinets, complemented with elegant appliances. We'll fill it with quality houseware and cookware. Custom-designed closet and storage solutions organize and beautify any area. And with the finest bedding, you'll get a perfect night's sleep knowing Brand Source Home Gallery has everything you need to make your house a home.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back. Thank you for joining us. And thanks to Nobi for sitting in and for being a champion. Not just of the culture and the heritage, for reminding us of a incredible history. As you say, is a product of a Naya man. But for you...
You give me too much credit.
No, bro, no, bro. We bring
man
people...
from the bush.
No, my friend. Your grandfather. Your grandfather and your grandmother and your uncles and everybody else will quickly agree that as a family, you guys epitomize the stature of the Caymanian. See, we bring people from our shows with a fun accent, a quack walk and all kind of stuff, and we celebrate them, elevate them, right? They did nothing, but we give them, all these accolades. Yet our very own, we don't show them any respect. We don't give them the value and their due. True. And even when they die, we say one or two little platitudes about them. Oh, bro, listen, your people are good people. I'm glad and honored to call you, one of mine, man. Yeah. That's true?
Yeah.
All right. Before you start blushing, let's take this call and give you a chance to catch a smile. There you go.
I'll catch up on this one again.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome. Thanks for calling.
Good afternoon, Mr. Ebanks.
Good afternoon, sir. See, before you continue, here is another gentleman who, Cap, if I may say, the salt water that run through your veins and the stalwart that is epitomizing in the Iron Man. Here's another man calling. So thank you, sir.
Yeah, I'm calling with a report something. 2 days ago, they're widening the road here on Walker's Road.
Yes, sir.
And 2 days ago, I guess the NRA or whatever this came, and they parked up in my yard and started to stick off what they wanted. And I thought that was very rude of them, or bad manners, not consulting me that they were going to do this thing. I was never notified. I know that they started some places, but shouldn't it be? Shouldn't they have the respect to notify the person, the owner of the property? I can't say that I like it, but I know I can't do much about it. But just to see the manners that these people, and it comes down from the head. Because, you know, when you catch a fish and it rottens from the head, when you open the mouth, you see the gill rot. Right? It's rotten. So this is from the head. They should have better manners than that. I hope they start teaching manners in these classes that they're having, all kinds of things. That's disrespectful. I bet you that, well, Mr. D, you know, the big developer, I bet you they would go bowing down to him and ask him, can we do this? We would like to do this and this.
And probably pay for it.
I'm just a poor little old black boy. It's no respect because this up there in South Sound, up there by just below Charles Corner, the Captain Charles house there. It's a house almost out there on the road. That big one they built down there by just north of Brenner Wattler's house there. That's out in the road, and the road is narrow there. How are they going to widen that? But they're going to. And as I said, I don't like it, but I know I can't do very much about it. But they could at least have the respect. That's why people complain about these people, because communication.
Communication, that's key.
Ask and it will be given. But just thumb your nose at people just because you call them nobody and think they're nobody. Oh, I can run them over. But it's not so. I demand an apology. I'm
you're deserving one. Yeah. But this is not just what we were just saying, you know. We don't show the respect to our own. I mean, common decency and courtesy from what you're sharing may have been, you know, the order of the day sometime. So what is happening to our society?
Oh, you know, we're an endangered species, you know. Mr. D, they were going to bow down. Can we... would you agree for us to do such and such a thing for him or any of the other investors, they call them? But I was the first person up here on Walker's Road out here. I was the first one that had lights. I've been here a long time, and I'm going to make a prediction too, because one guy got killed right on a light pole right in front of my house there many years ago, and it's going to happen again. If they go out and do what they want to do, I think it looks like about 3 lanes or something like that. And they never told me because I never asked. Cause I couldn't argue or say anything to the surveyor, the guy, the people that were doing the work, because they were following orders. So I know that much. But it's disrespectful. And I demand an apology for not notifying me and for not notifying me for what they want to do. It's disrespectful, because if I had white skin, straight hair, and blue eyes, boy, they would have been all over me. But since I'm not, but I couldn't. You know me. I couldn't. I just had to get that off my chest, because it's damn well disrespectful. There's many things I would like to say in there, but it's not a word. So I better.
We remember that you're, you know, old Saul, so the sea captain and you might be evident. Huh?
Yeah, I could tell him some things, but yes, I better stop. Okay, thanks for listening to me.
No, thank you too, sir. And for what it's worth, you know, I think the nation joins me in showing our respect for you and offering up an apology, and trust that you'll find, you know, that sort of thing, a level of respect that you deserve, sir. All right, blessings. But nobody, isn't that sort of indicative of much that we're seeing? Take for instance, and maybe under the guise of safety, for instance, we drive our roadways, and sometimes I call on limbs, trees, bushes, whatever, may encroach along the roadway. We see the utility company, the electric one in particular, and trees are close to the poles and the power lines, and they'll trim them back. Nothing wrong with being safe, but there's a difference between, and I'll use the word, and you tell me that there's a better word. We don't hack up the tree. You don't take and chop it up and hack it up. And there's a way to properly limb the tree, and so that the tree is still, looking good and viable.
Well, you know my opinion on this. And this is one of my latest rants about how the trees are being hacked around the place.
Yeah.
I think, it's great to know that we have people going around cutting the trees to make sure that our power lines are clear and what have you.
Mm-hmm.
But we still have to be mindful of the trees that are out there and to keep somewhat of a shape. We have to prune up trees. I prune up trees at home all the time, but there's a right way of pruning a tree,
and maybe a timing too. Cut it on the right moon, and this is what people tell me.
Well, I mean that's things like the the silver thatch if you're going to be using it.
Okay.
But I don't know particularly about the other ones. For me, I don't like to prune my sea grape trees whenever, or cut them back whenever they're blooming. It's just logic. You want to get the fruit, right? You just cut it off.
Yeah.
But I just had a recent rant, and for those who know me, they probably wonder like what I'm up to. I mean, I'm ranting because I can, and because I really don't think that it's right. I've seen a tree, one of the sweetest sea grape trees in East End or that I've ever come across, and most of the people from the district eat from that tree. And a lot of people who are visitors, some people have been on my tour. Not that my tour is the most important thing. I think more people that are from here eat from the tree because we're introducing what my tour and other people who are into the tourism industry are introducing people to things of our culture that they don't even know about. Some people don't even know you can eat a sea grape.
Yeah.
Right?
Have you seen a white sea grape? When was the last time?
Just recently.
Okay.
It's one tree.
There used to be one in Westfield. There used to be one that I knew about.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that in however long.
Yeah.
Okay. So to your point, we're destroying stuff.
So my point is that I think and I mean I would probably know the people over at COC that you would probably be saying like what you expect because we have to cut trees, but you all there needs to be somebody that understand or know the trees first off. And be mindful of how they're cutting the trees. Yeah. The tree that I'm talking about, it is no way even near to the power line. So I'm just kind of shocked about that one. And it's just hacked in half. A huge tree.
Yeah.
I just don't get it. I mean, if somebody could explain, and maybe somebody will call in and chew me out about this, but I heard people talking about they're not really a true tree hugger, but they understand this. If you want to say I'm a tree hugger, I'm a tree hugger. I believe in trees. I have a lot of trees around my place. I try to plant trees all the time. There's a lot of beauty in trees and plants. And if we don't realize it, for example, you go to Kimmelbrook and Little Cayman, there are a lot of trees, Little Cayman especially, that there are a lot of trees that aren't there, right? Cayman seems to have certain trees, and of course we don't have all the trees and plants that you'd have in other jurisdictions, but we need to preserve what we have. I mean, I've seen other things like, I think we talked about it before, and we keep repeating this, but I've seen things like June plum. Some people might say we don't eat them, but where in the world, in a lot of places in the world that you can go along the road and pick these things up.
Well, I prefer the Jew plum in particular. Yeah, but even that is disappearing.
And I've seen a very sweet one, and when the government people are cutting, they just cut the tree down, right down to hack it down to nothing, and it has June plums on it. So I'm like, what's going on here?
We're destroying a lot of the natural habitat. We're gonna pause and take a break.
Yeah,
the phone lines are there. The excellent company Nobi. Hey, if you love the country, you got to speak up and protect it and preserve it and promote it and have respect. So stay tuned for Talk Today.
Summer, the season for backyard gatherings, beach parties, office socials, and camps for kids. Make the most of your summer party and leave the catering to Subway. Choose from small and large sandwich platters or double meat wrap platters, and top it off with optional cookie platters for dessert. Or ask about our Subway Box to Go, with the option of a 6-inch or foot-long sandwich, 1 cookie, and 1 bag of chips. Cater your summer with Subway. Visit subway.ky for menu options. Subway. Eat fresh.
Continuing the Caymanian tradition.
Let Cora keep my ground so clean.
The heart and soul of the Cayman people. Thank you for keeping the culture alive.
Spread the news every day. From East End to Georgetown, down into West Bay.
Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman.
Your voice, your choice.
Local, regional, international. This is Headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
Today's biggest news.
With your latest headlines, I'm Felicia Rankin-Solins. The Cayman Islands National Weather Service informs the public of a potential tropical cyclone 7. Its coordinates are latitude 15.3 north, longitude 49.3 west. Location 840 miles east of Leeward Islands. Its movement is to the west at 21 miles per hour, with maximum sustained wind speeds of 35 miles per hour. In international news, Jake Davison, who killed 5 people in England, was a licensed firearms holder, police have revealed. The 22-year-old shot 2 women, 2 men, and a 3-year-old girl in a deadly 6-minute spree on Thursday evening. Police said the incident is the worst mass shooting in Britain since 2010, and it is not terror-related. 4 educators in Florida's second-largest school district have died from COVID-19 within a day of each other, teachers' union officials say. The deaths in Broward County come as a fierce debate rages across the U.S. over what virus protocols should exist in schools when the academic year begins. Florida's Republican governor has threatened to withhold pay from school leaders who require masks for pupils. A hacker who stole just over $600 million worth of cryptocurrency was offered $500,000 and immunity as a reward for returning the money. Poly Network made the controversial offer after the hacker pledged to send the money back. The attack was uncovered on Tuesday when Poly Network publicly pleaded with the hacker to help. One former FBI official said private companies have no authority to promise immunity from criminal prosecution. The attack is one of the largest hacking heists in history. These are your headlines. I'm Felicia Rankin-Solins.
For the latest in news and information,
follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, radiocayman.gov.ky.
Radio Cayman is pleased to feature this special Sister Islands historical vignette, brought to you by the Ministry of Tourism and Transport. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your Sister Islands.
Alfred Berman Scott, 1914 to 1989. Alfred Scott was schooled in Jamaica and went to sea as a young man, and then to Panama, where he worked on the canal. When he returned home to Cayman Brac, he worked as a contractor and manufacturer of concrete blocks made on a homemade machine, floor tiles and aggregate. He served in the Legislative Assembly in the early 1970s, representing Cayman Brac and Little Cayman, and was a Baptist preacher for a number of years. He was a philanthropist who was widely loved and respected. Mr. Scott, who was married to Miss Alta Aurelia Henderson, was a model husband and father who raised 12 outstanding citizens. Another son died at an early age.
Radio Cayman is pleased to feature this special Sister Islands historical vignette, brought to you by the Ministry of Tourism and Transport. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your Sister Islands.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back, and thanks for sharing with us in the studio, Shane and Nobi Edwards. And thanks not just for your company, but I think through the years, your constant sort of call for environmental sensitivity, protection, promotion, for the need for the country to appreciate that this isn't, and I say this respectfully, about tree huggers. If you look, how many of us, when we go to the beach, want to always be out in the sun and the sand? Maybe you're looking for a little shade now and again, right? Not to throw shade. That's a term I heard recently. I thought how things are evolving these days. But maybe cocoa plum and some sea grape would be nice. You know, it was a time when we took the mangoes and we enjoyed taking a dip in the sea with the mangoes, or as I say, the mangoes. But if we destroy everything, will we have anything?
Yeah, I mean, you see, way back when we had so much of abundance of these different things around, if we took out a few sea grape here, if we took out a few thatch trees here, if we took out a few of those cocoa plums, then it's not a problem. But nowadays, if people start realizing, I don't think you could find cocoa plum in certain sections of Cayman.
Is there any left on Summer Beach?
I don't know, but I know they were there a lot. But I know they're up in East End. But
for now,
yeah. And then thatch. I think one time there was a lady calling that said there is no thatch in West Bay. Well, they're thatch in East End, but how long?
Yeah,
right. And that happens by people taking them down, right? It's the same thing with all the ponciana trees and all those kind of things. I mean, I've replanted a few. I got a yellow and a red. Other people doing. These are trees that people are saying they're too much mess. I don't want them in my yard. They cut them down, and I'm saying, like, we lost it. You don't see the beauty in having a ponciana tree.
Beautiful tree, man.
That's in my opinion, right? But
yeah, I'm with you, man. I'm with you. Miss Mary had a beautiful in her yard, man.
Yeah.
Let's take this call, Nobi. Hey, good afternoon. Welcome. Thanks for calling.
Good afternoon, Dwayne. Sterling Dwayne. Mario Ebanks here. How you doing?
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, man. Where's that license plate, man?
I still have it. I still have it. Don't worry. I still have that.
You should put that.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon to Nobi.
Good afternoon.
Sheen, Nobi Edwards. How you doing, brother?
That's the man.
Okay.
That's the man.
All right. Just want to make a couple of comments today about. There's so much to talk about, really, but I want to talk a bit about traffic and about the school traffic in particular. Schools are out now. The high schools, middle schools, elementary schools, but soon to be reopened. Thank God we can reopen our schools and not have to have too much drama yet in regard to the whole COVID situation. But of course, that may change. You never know. But in regard to traffic and school traffic in particular, one of the suggestions that I want to raise today and put it out for public consumption is the use of private taxi and tour buses that are not running now to be able to assist. But before I forget it, I just want to also say to all those folks out there who are bereaved and grieving as a result of deaths in their families and friends, I want to give all of them our love and deepest sympathies. Also, there's a lot of funerals this weekend, and every weekend seems to be funerals. So I just wanted before I get going with my brief talk, to send out sympathies from myself and my family.
Yeah, prayers. Join you in the prayers, my friend. Definitely.
Thank you. So we have a situation now where Novi himself was involved in tourism industry, and so he'll have insights on this as well. But we have a number of people that have tours and taxi buses, particular tour buses that they do the shuttles for the did shuttles for the cruise ship passengers from the port to various tours and various other attractions, and some of them also do airport runs and whatnot. But a lot of folks are now just surviving. Some have their vehicles parked in their compounds because it's there's no sense of trying to deploy them because the cost of operating, the cost of insurance and licensing and all that during COVID, and they bought these buses for tourists, particularly cruise ship trade, which is probably going to be another, I don't know how long, but it'll be several months, if not longer, before that it starts to revive. And why couldn't we? And the other point is that a lot of the school traffic, a lot of the congestion on the roads in the mornings and afternoons and mid-afternoons is due to parents taking their children to school in their private vehicles, picking them up from school, taking them home, and so you have this serious traffic congestion that is bad anyhow, but even worse during the school year or the academic year. What if we have these buses that are also fit for purpose, secure and spacious and safe throughout districts, all of our districts in Grand Cayman in particular, have them coordinated and organized into a separate transportation system for school children that would augment the traditional busing companies that we have for school children. So you'll have children, especially in those areas that are not serviced, those areas outside of the district, for example, even the suburbs of our island that are not serviced by the traditional busing, that these children can get proper busing to and from school, relieve the parents of having to take them. Some parents may have similar schedules for their work as well, but of course they don't have to necessarily all go into the school district to drop off children if they don't have to. So the parents wouldn't have to do that. Those parents who only go out in the morning to take the children and go back home wouldn't have to add to the congestion on the roads. You'd have less road rage, less congestion, less pollution, and like I say, less congestion, but also those taxi and tour operators who are not employed now and do have revenue, except some of them, get the stipend, which, is a help, but is not really that much, compared to what they could make otherwise. They would be able to survive for a while until the cruise ship business and the tourism business gets going again, hopefully subject to a safe reopening. So I just want to put that out for you guys to think about and for the public to talk about and think about, because it's something that I feel strongly about, and I think it could be a good interim solution for traffic congestion and also to help these unoccupied
underused, huh?
Underused, yeah. Underused.
So, but let me ask then, in relation to the cost of that, how would that be sort of met? Who would pay for it?
Government.
Well, there would be a cost. I mean, government pays now for the busing, right?
Right.
And so whether there needs to be eventually some thinking about some kind of cost sharing of all the busing, that's another question, but that's a policy matter. But these busing things would have to be the private buses that are being used or absorbed into the school busing system would also have to have contracts and conditions, and they'd have to have their own security, have somebody on the bus that is acting as a warden, depending on everything.
Sorry, let me just interject to that. These are our school children, right? And we're using, and if I would not to beat up on you by any means, you just used the word a warden and for security on our school buses for our school children. Can we not get that space in society where we have a little more discipline and respect for our children? I mean, are we that place now where we're ferrying would-be prisoners or almost treating them like such?
Yeah, now you enter another subject, and that's the social breakdown and the whole the family values and the kinds of examples that children are getting.
So we're not talking about chaperones, right? We're not talking about safety people. So when the children get off the bus, that they make sure the adult walks and help them cross the road. We're talking about wardens,
Well, yeah, I mean, I know they have wardens on the buses now.
No, I know that, but that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
we're creating little prisoners. We're treating our children like criminals.
Well, yeah, that, like I said, that's another subject for another day, which is in relation to the whole family and community values and the breakdown in society. Now, if we don't deal with that issue, of course, as you rightly have observed, that will spill away into everything else that we try to do, into the workplace, into the nightclubs, into the restaurants, everywhere, right? But we do have some children. But even when we were going to school and taking the bus from Mr. Garston and Calvin and Len and all of them,
Bunny and Claudine and everybody else.
Bunny and Claudine, all those guys, there were still bad children. There were fights on the buses as well.
But there was
so
more.
in those days,
more was to behave better than some, right? There was that parental involvement.
Yeah, right. In those days, Mr. Garston and all those, Mr. Bunin and all those didn't know who our parents were, and if we went out, if we got out of the line, we would be strapped. Now you don't know who they are, and you don't know now if you tell the parents whether they're going to care about it or whether they're going to attack the bus company or the warden or the teachers.
Right.
So the whole different breakdown in society we're dealing with.
Fair enough.
What I'm trying to talk about, though,
I understand that
is the issue of the traffic, the busing situation, and how it could be organized and coordinated.
One last question on that: would we apply it to the private schools, as we call them? Because we're not a divided society at all. No black and white, no rich and poor, no father and whatever. So, so would this apply across the board, or just the government schools? Not would the private schools be in the student have to jump on board?
It would, my friend. It would have to, because right now a big part of the problem with the traffic congestion for school transportation is the private schools, because they don't have their own busing system or assets. Some of them may have small, but they don't have it, and so they would have to contribute. I mean, the school and the parents would have to contribute to the cost of the busing for those children. And but what I'm talking about was my first phase of this was the public.
Man, do it across the board, man. Let's piecemeal approach the crop, man. Let's just jump in.
But give me. Can I just have a second to finish my thought? Right. The first phase would be to look at the public school system and see where we need to augment the busing for that. But also, I agree with you. The second phase has to be the private school system. In that case, the funding for the service would have to come from the school and the parents or a combination thereof. Because government really, I know government does some subsidies and grants to some schools, but I'm not sure if they would have
we have
money and the thing to pay for that as well. But it has to be, for the program to work properly and to cause a tremendous permanent decline in traffic congestion, it would have to encompass the public and private schools. And like I say, I'm suggesting that it's a short-term solution now that we have excess capacity, but it may need to be a longer strategy as well, because either we do that or we help the traditional busing companies expand their fleets to be able to accommodate.
Right. I mean, your suggestion is usually, is right on point. Before nobody jumps in, though, the thing is, many have been the complaint that their traffic woes in the morning because of the schools is because of the private school children being ferried back and forth. Most of the public school children seemingly, take the buses at 4:30 in the morning, whatever time it is, right? But we got 100,000 to incentivize or to bribe people to take an injection. We found money for other stuff. Maybe we can collectively do this to, improve the traffic flow and decrease the impact on infrastructure and the need for government to spend hundreds of millions of dollars more on roads, only to be congested in short order. So maybe the private sector come on board again for this.
I don't say no. I don't dispute that. I just say I'm putting out the suggestion.
Excellent suggestion.
And I think it needs to be a kind of holistic approach in terms of how we do it.
Yeah, man.
Nobody, you have something you want?
Yeah,
I'm enjoying this discussion.
Always, man.
But if I guess people are waiting to get on to, I don't want to hog the line.
No, I was first going to ask you what your thoughts are on the trees. But no. It seems to be a good suggestion, because what's happening here is that we all have to find somehow to accommodate all these people that are out of jobs and get them back into the work environment. And that seems to be a reasonable suggestion. The one thing that Sterling suggests, which I think is probably the best way, because right now, as far as I know, government does provide private school grants. So if they're giving private school grants to assist private schools to take in students every year, I think that an initiative like that should be across the board. But we might have an ill issue, because how much parents would want to have their child go in a bus rather than go with them? I think that we're so used to having a situation of having our own vehicle, driving with our kids to school, that a lot of people. I mean, I know when I was going to school, I never went on the bus. I went home on the bus, but not to school. And I actually got a ride to school with relatives.
Mm-hmm.
So I know that's probably coming more personalized through the years. Everybody want to have a car and want to drive. But it seems like it would be a great thing to alleviate traffic.
Mm-hmm.
It would be a great thing to put these people into work.
Yeah, man.
But there's a lot of other stuff that also need to be considered, because I believe that this whole pandemic and situation we have is going to go on for quite a while. We might open in October, but I don't think, or December or January, but I don't think we're going to get the level of tourism that we had before that would suffice all of the people in the tourism industry. I don't see it happening right now.
Mm-hmm.
You're right. No, this is not going to be a quick turnaround. This is going to take some time. So we need to look at how we can re-engineer things, how we can reimagine things, and move forward. So President Biden said, "Build back better."
Yeah.
But I don't want to discount the issue of trees, Nobi.
I know, I'm just joking.
Certainly, one of the things that I'm concerned about also is the mangrove buffer around this country, and the mangroves that are being taken up. And the more we do that, we're removing that protective buffer that is so great to keep our soil and our country strong around the coastline. The other issue is obviously, I think we can talk about a bunch of different issues, but the 7 Mile Beach situation that is scary. It's really sad.
Well, the 7 Mile Beach is a very sad situation, but I'm gonna interject on something that I had personally went out and seen that I thought it is a remarkable recovery for mangroves in South Sound. I went out there with a friend of mine kayaking, and I was just amazed to see the abundance of sea life out there, and the mangroves coming back in some areas out there. Even though there seemed to be a lot of development and removal of the mangroves, I was amazed because I don't know if they're doing a replanting thing or whatever, but out a little further from most of the development, I'm seeing a lot of mangroves coming back. I don't know if I understand that, of course, Department of Environment probably has been involved with this whole thing, but that my first time was probably about 8 months ago out there, and I was really amazed at it. So if people take the initiative of trying to get more of these mangroves back up, if they do take them out, which we don't want them to do, but it seems like no matter what's happening, somebody's giving them permission to do it, or they're doing it without permission and nothing's being done. So we need to try and find a way of how we get these things, our natural environment, back around whatever they have, the developments they've made.
Mm-hmm.
A few years ago, we went to a cruise, and one of the stops was Belize, and the way they had built a new port, they found that they all the coastline and the thing was just sort of falling into the water, and they started a massive replanting of the mangroves for that same purpose, to rebuild and to restore the coastline. So I think that's great. But like I say, I guess you got other callers on, so I don't want to talk the time. But I just want to leave the thoughts about the busing and the tour and taxi buses that are dormant that could be used to help with school children busing.
Thank you for that extended time, man. And before we take the next break, just to take these other callers, and thanks to DJ Lynn. He's amazing, man. Good afternoon. Welcome. Thanks for calling.
Hi, Sterling.
How are you? Good afternoon.
Fine. Hi, Nobby.
Hi, how you doing?
Yes, Mom.
Good. Sterling, am I going to be able to hold on to it after the news too?
No, you go ahead and take the break. We're talking to you, man. You go, you do your thing.
But I want you to come back to me after the break, okay?
Well, you keep talking. We're not going to the break yet. You do your thing.
Sterling, I just tried to put the radio on in the last couple of minutes. So I was just trying to figure out what that gentleman was talking about. Can you give me a little question?
The last caller?
Yeah, and what were we saying about buses and so forth?
Nobody want to do it? Okay. He made a very informed discussion relative to using the capacity we have now to underuse private sector taxis, tour buses, and the like to help to transport children securely and safely, and give those operators some added income in this time when the tourism product isn't at capacity. So that would alleviate the traffic, be convenient for parents, and hopefully, help to spread the joy, as it were.
Okay. Well, Sterling, that sounds all good and well.
Yeah,
that sounds all good and well. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
That sounds all good and well, but you know, the majority of these kids that are being dropped off at school, their parents are on their way to work, right? But they take them, especially the public school, and majority of them takes the public buses, the school buses back home in the afternoon, but a lot is being dropped off by their parents. And then the private schools, they all being driven by a private car or a small school bus that they do have, and that only goes so far and no more. You understand? So that all sounds good and well, but are these the buses, are they going to be paid to take these kids to school, or is it going to be how is that going to work? I'll leave that question to you to answer later. You can try to answer that later. You'll not be.
All right, thanks.
And also too, you know, starting at this day and age right now about traffic being alleviated in the Cayman Islands and Nobby, I think that's going to be impossible, because don't care how many roads we built and how many side roads we come out of to get onto the main road to get where we want to go, it's going to always be a congestion, and that don't look like it's going to change in any shape or form until we can take away some of these cars from people from coming here, getting a driver's license that is on a work permit, that is working here just for a year. If they get extended into another year or 3 years, especially domestic, you could probably consider getting a car within that time. But you're going to drop on the island on a Wednesday, and then the following Wednesday you have you come with a driver's license, you'll get it returned into Cayman license, and then here you are on the road driving. You understand? So it's going to be very hard to try to keep that rolling at a more decent way, because then the traffic is getting worse. The people do have no respect for you in the parking lot. They don't have no respect for you on the road. They don't like your speed that you do it, so they decide to do what they want to do and cut into you and all that kind of foolishness. And that's where I think that they say these signs on the road that tell you how much you're doing has a camera in there, and the guy said that on the OC show some months ago, and I haven't heard yet that those speeders have picked up a car yet that crossing those meters in the morning or any time of the day.
Right.
But getting back to the public bus, getting back to the private, the government school buses. Sterling, let me tell you something. If you think that those buses are easy, you got another guest coming. Well, we have to go to the daytime.
No, ma'am.
Our kids off safely.
Not at all.
It's not easy. Being a bus warden some days, it's not easy. It's a very challenging job, you know.
Yeah.
And I have almost got my life on several occasions, stepping off of that bus trying to take a kid across the street or picking up a kid from across the street.
Yeah.
I have saw death doors for a long time on that bus.
Right.
But I love my job.
You do as well. Yes,
and I try to do the best of my ability. But
you're adding safety, right? You're taking the children on and off.
Trying my very best though.
Yes, ma'am.
And then some idiot comes along and wants to drive across the door.
Right.
The door's on the left hand side. That's where they want to overtake the buses when we stop on the left hand side. The door not on the right hand side. If it was on the right hand side, it probably would have more accidents in what we're having right now. But Sterling, I don't know how we're going to work out this thing about traffic. Oh, another thing, Nobby.
Yes, ma'am.
This asking tourism people to go to work, right? Someone called me this morning, told me they've been doing the Toilet bus stop for years, and they went to work and they was asked for a resume. Do you have a resume, Nobby?
Do I have a resume?
You're self-employed. Yeah. Do you have a resume? Would you consider yourself having a resume as self-employed?
Not really, but I do update my resume. I try to, anything that I do, I add to it, because I've been into the financial arena before, and you always just try to keep on adding things to it now and again, but I don't do it on a regular basis. But I think it's not reasonable to ask somebody that is a driver, that kind of thing. But you know, when they start doing that, it might be one of those cases that they just looking to employ someone else. You know,
this person is 65 years old.
Wow.
And they have driven a 30-seater bus for over 25 years or change. she don't have no resume that I know of, and now they're asking for a resume.
Well, she would have a resume of what she's done for that amount of time, right? So the experience with it.
She should write a letter stating that I've been working for myself and for so many years, but a resume, to me, it applies of having other jobs you have with other companies, but over 20 odd years in the taxi business. How can you have a resume? All you can do is write a letter stating that I've been employed for 25 years doing this and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Well,
but I understand what you're saying. I agree.
All right. Thanks much, Mom. And Nobi, just to you, the callers, we're going to pause now, take this break. To the callers in line, we're going to join you right after. Stay tuned.
Wouldn't it have been grand if you had purchased land 30 years ago? It may not be 2020, but a perfect vision has never been more clear. Cayman Brac and Little Cayman, poised for growth with an eye on the future. Your land, your history, your future. Discover all that our sister islands have to offer.
Busy, busy, busy. Feel like there's not just enough hours in the day. Savannah Pharmacy, service to make your life easier. Now you can WhatsApp your prescription order to 929-5045. And pickup is just around the corner with everything your family needs and convenient opening hours including Sundays and holidays. WhatsApp your prescription order to 929-5045. Savannah Pharmacy, wholesome values with modern conveniences.
You see how hard it's raining?
Yeah, and I don't have time to fight traffic and get my lunch from Subway. I have so much work to do.
Why don't you order Subway by using the Let's Eat or Bento app? Save time, stay dry, and get your sandwich fast.
I never thought of that. Great idea. I'm going to order now.
Order me a veggie pizza while you're at it.
And a cookie platter for the office.
Too busy at work or home? Is the rainy weather stopping you from dining out? Order your favorite Subway sandwich, wrap, or pizza through the Let's Eat or Bento app with fast and reliable delivery. Subway, eat fresh.
Did you know that defective airbags can cause serious injury or even death if not repaired immediately? Right now, millions of vehicles around the world are under recall for faulty Takata airbags, and yours could be one of them. At Vamt Motors, our priority is to make sure the Toyota or Ford you drive is safe. So we are offering customers a free, fast and easy airbag swap out if your vehicle was manufactured in 2016 or earlier. Find out if you need to have new airbags installed by emailing your Ford or Toyota vehicle's VIN or vehicle identification number to service@vamtmotors.com or stop by Vamp's Service Center or call us at 949-2245. Don't risk it. Get the airbags in your Toyota or Ford checked for free at Vamt Motors on Walkers Road.
When I was growing up in Cayman, Sundays was always a big day for our family. Everyone would go to Granny's house for Sunday dinner after church. Even today, I can still smell the aroma of all the delicious food we used to eat, especially the hot, fresh baked bread smothered in butter, topped off with our favorite pan cheese. These days, I don't have enough time to cook and bake, but I do my best to carry on the Sunday tradition of family meals, and being able to get hot, fresh bread with no preservatives or additives from Caribbean Bakery is a big help for me. Shh, don't tell them, they still think I baked it. Caribbean Bakery, now delivering every Sunday to McGrath's grocery store in Eastern Avenue and Marina Drive. Caribbean Bakery, made Cayman fresh.
The Cayman AIDS Foundation would like you to join them in bringing their HIV numbers here in the Cayman Islands to ground zero. Knowing your HIV status could save your life. Call the HSA today and book an appointment to be tested. Visit their website on www.caf.ky or call them on 946-3029 for more information. This message was brought to you by the Cayman AIDS Foundation.
Grand Cayman Civil Service Association members, present and retired. The final backpack distribution day is Saturday, August 28th from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. If you have not collected your 2 backpacks previously, then this is your opportunity. Just a reminder, members, please check your salary slip or HR person to assure Your membership fee is updated. Retirees, check your records for your 2020-2021 fee receipt. Please bring an ID for collection. And if you are collecting for another member, please bring a signed note and copy of their ID as well. That's the final Backpack Distribution Day, Saturday, August 28th from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. We hope to see you then. CISA, members serving members.
The CISA office is located upstairs Hospital Road Plaza.
Do you have plans to travel to the UK? You must provide a letter of certification from Public Health and your vaccination certificate issued in the Cayman Islands if traveling to the UK via the Bahamas, the United States, Canada, Jamaica, or any other Amber List country. If you are traveling directly to the UK from Cayman, no letter of certification is necessary. Letters of certification may be requested by emailing vaccinecertification@hsa.ky. Travelers must attach a copy of their vaccination card as a screenshot attached to their email request. All requests will take 3 business days to process, and letters will only be issued within 3 weeks of a person's date of travel. Letters of certification are only needed if traveling to the UK via any Amber List country. Travelers to the UK coming directly from the Cayman Islands do not require a letter of certification.
But I do have some questions.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program. Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back, and thanks for joining us. And thanks to Sheen and Nobi Edwards for sharing the company and for the callers online. But before we continue, Nobi, I always appreciate your counsel and company. So before we take the callers, any other thoughts you may want to share, especially the last caller?
I think Miss Jane was pointing out something about a number of cars on the road, and I think that this has been talked about so much over and over. I think that there's supposed to be, I don't know how something's going to happen is if the government take an initiative or put something in place that says, only X amount of people could get a driver's license or bring in a car in the Cayman Islands, and then that would restrict it. I think it's in the process. I think people they're discussing it. I think because it's been on the table so long, and there has to be ways of improving our traffic situation.
Definitely. Something to look at, but
but we can't do nothing if we keep on going at it.
All right,
it's kind of hard. Right?
Join me as we take the callers.
Yeah.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome. Thanks for calling.
Hi.
Good afternoon.
Hello.
How are you?
Yes, that 100,000 people that are in the war, all became status and PR, disrespecting people and all that they does, grabbing everything for themselves, and I keep it up, and I don't stop.
Thank you.
That's the problem right there. And nobody thought that they could say one word in this past election campaign about immigration unless and until you have real immigration reform in this country, nothing shall change. Because not everybody who come here, as my good friend will say, at 12 o'clock noon, need to be driving their own motor car at 2:30 in the afternoon. No place to park it, but out in front of that building, that 16,000 people up in one room. I mean, and then when you turn loose all them cars on the road next morning, what you got? But our elected officials, like, they lose their minds after they take their oath of office. But really, the traffic situation, and I don't drive, the traffic situation is horrid. Everybody complains about it. If it wasn't so, people wouldn't be complaining ad nauseum. Somebody needs to take a concrete stand, pull Caymanians to the fore, and look and see what you can do with the non-Cayman crowd, because people who have buses, they need to make a living too. Because the only people making money out of this thing are called private car owner. Like I see, they come here at 12 o'clock noon and by 3 o'clock in the evening they got a car. Most of the people in like you say, selling cars and selling gas. How about looking out for your own people who got taxi services, who have lived
on the street all of their lives. They need to make money too. So, find a transportation system that will work for us and let the people continue to drive their buses and their cabs. But most of these people who just come here need to take a bus and need to take a cab now and then to contribute to the country's economy, because I'll tell you what, I don't know about the middle class, I don't know about the welfare, but I can tell you that people who come here in the lower end of the totem pole, they don't want to spend any money with locals. And that's a consideration that needs to be considered at the highest end of the totem pole. They don't want to do it, and they're not doing it. They will save and save and save and save till they get their own car, put it on the road, and that's another car on Monday morning, 2 more on Tuesday, 3 more on Friday. It just goes on and on. We have the intelligence, we have the roads, we can import whatever we need. We really need a busing system that will move the people and really relieve some of the congestion of private-owned cars on the road. And yes, I say Cayman should have the first chance to say, well, maybe my family needs 2 cars. But not everybody that come here, you see them rent one house and you see 6 and 7 cars out in front of the gate. I don't know. I don't know what's wrong with us. But young man, I just called to tell you to keep on keeping on about your call yours pawn, please.
Thank you. Thank you. But so much time when I keep going at this and putting stuff out there, I think people say like, what you expect to achieve about a tree or trees or colliers or what have you, and I appreciate when people like you give us the the motivation to keep on going on.
Hey, thanks much, Mom. All right, let's take another call. Good afternoon, welcome, thanks for calling. Hello, good afternoon. Hey, good afternoon, welcome, thanks for calling. All right, let's try the other one. Good afternoon, thanks for calling.
Good afternoon, Sterling, and good afternoon tonight. I'm on from East End.
What you say?
What's up, man?
Good to hear from you, man.
Listen, man, I hope you're not growing snappers in that pond now.
No, boy. What I've been trying to do is dry some fish for hard times.
you got clean fish in the one. That's snappers.
The good thing about Caymanians, we taught almost this entire region how to fish and build catboats. So I think if we get back to the time where we have to apply ourselves in that way again, I don't think we're gonna have a problem. We come from good stock, as far as I'm concerned.
Amen.
You got that right.
I just gonna lend my 2 cents, obviously, about the traffic and the different things. But the reality is that yes, I think we all know that we have a problem. One thing I will like to point out, Nobi and Sterling, because I think sometimes the ideas doesn't really coincide with the reality. I mean, ideas are great, don't get me wrong. Problem is that Cayman Islands is a service-based society. We look at every single thing we can possibly generate revenue from. Unfortunately, the importation of vehicles is a large part of the custom duties that is collected annually, and it plays a significant role in our GDP. Now, how do we fix that? Now, I don't even know if there is a fix, but there is ideas in terms of trying to generate revenue from other means that are not creating the heavy burden of our infrastructure, such as, well, we're gonna let these 200 cars a month come in because we enjoying the duties from these cars. Also, we also enjoying the monies that are being made from the licensing department for charging for licenses. So, and licensing cars, and insurance companies are making money. So, when we look at the grand scheme of things, a lot of the things that are deteriorating our social ability are the things that the government heavily rely on for revenue, like work permits, for instance. That contributes a significant amount of money. But we complain about 30,000 work permits, but we don't complain when the government's spending the money to generate it from it. So I just saying that the approach for traffic, and I can tell you this right now, and I don't care who like it, who don't like it, who think that I'm anti. Listen, we got too many people that don't know how to drive on the road. Half our problem, not traffic, not cars on the road. It's the bad drivers that are in the cars. Because I've sat down, and let me tell you, nobody on the road more than me. I on the road constantly. I hustle. I work for myself, so I gotta be on the road. I see a Filipino training somebody how to drive. Nothing against the Filipino community, but we all know that they don't know world class drivers. I'm sorry, and the Jamaicans don't know better. I love my Jamaicans. My father's Jamaican, but they bring their bad habits from Jamaica too. They stop in the middle of the road to talk to their friends. Traffic backed up, and that's not because we got too many cars. That's because we got bad, inconsiderate drivers. So there's other little measures we can do. And you know, Nobi, you said it earlier. We've been talking about this from the time of Moses about putting in a ground master transportation plan and implementing it and stop talking about it. You know, I went to Canada in 2019 and they got this thing called the GO train, right? And the GO train is in the middle of each of every highway. So just like how we got these bypasses now, right? Why we haven't proactively started to put in infrastructure, to put in alternative ways of getting people from point A to point B? In the middle of all these bypasses that are arteries from the main town all the way out to the eastern districts and the western district, we should have had some sort of GO train mechanism in the middle of those mediums so we can have a public service. Now, I know that may cut into the profits being made by our local bus drivers and some of our taxes, but you know what? There are some things that have to be implemented for the betterment of the progress of the infrastructure, because whereas bus drivers are going to still be needed, the GO train is only going to be going from point A to point B. The bus now have a little bit more intricate routes that carry you closer to your destination. But what it does, it takes a significant amount of people off the road, right? And that is some of the things we need to be looking at. Now, that's not the only solution, and then obviously being smart about building roads, because I'll say this last, and this is the thing that really bothers me, and this directed directly to people like Mark Scotland, who is a civil engineers, who are responsible for designing some of these ridiculous roundabouts, right? How you going to have 3 lanes going into a roundabout that only got 1 lane? They put they got the 3 lanes there, and then they block them off. You're not going to have access to them, and they shuttle their about into this bottleneck into the 1 lane on the roundabout. Then the one coming out of South Sound now, you got to drive all the way to the right lane in order to cut in if you want to go to Hurley's, and then they got the cones that almost causes an accident every single day. And they got so many boneheaded things that done in these roundabouts that causing more trouble than they fixing, but nobody not really addressing them. So again, until we got cars that can fly, we can have this problem.
Yeah.
But anyway, good conversation, guys.
Yeah.
Toby,
Yeah, man.
as always, you know, when we got local traditional Caymanians like yourself who trying to create a brand and maintain a brand and always willing to try new things, it's always good to see and it's refreshing to hear. And you're not on the radio enough, in my opinion. So
Thank you, man.
Always continue to do the thing. You know how we go already. You know, we got to be our brother's keeper around here now, especially in these uncertain times, because if you had a restaurant, I could try to eat there twice a week, just so that you can get some of the money that I already spending on food. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
Anyway, guys.
Hey, thanks, bro.
Thank you.
Thanks, man. Thanks, man. That's it. One hand washes the other, but our brother's keeper.
Always good to hear from Mario. I mean, you know, see the insight there. There's some of those things that would have liked to brought up earlier, right? But he always got the knowledge behind it, behind the facts. I mean, or the facts behind the little bit of questions we have. And you know, that is correct. I mean, we have to think about. I think they broke it down to say what kind of revenue, where we were getting the revenue from recently that is making the Cayman Islands carry out it, you know, what we're doing right now. And it's coming from import fees. It's coming from things like that, the financial sector, their registration fees and that kind of stuff. So it is, like you said, you know, one of the reasons why it probably hasn't been touched, because the income that we're getting from it. But should we continue to allow people to be on the road like this? On top of that, I think he made a good point about the drivers on the road.
Yeah.
Now, I have a problem with that because I live East End, and everybody that live East End, you can tell the East End drivers, we drive the speed limit, right? Yeah. But if you're not from East End, most of the people going in the 50-mile zone, because there's only a few places in Cayman with a 50-mile zone. And I can tell you the majority of people drive 30 miles an hour in a 50-mile zone. and we don't have 2 lanes, so we have to overtake whenever we get a chance. That in itself creates a risk for accidents.
Yeah, too
right?
fast, too slow.
Right, so people have, because I'm trying to overtake you to try and go ahead because you're going too slow. And people who are driving, especially in those 50-mile zone, I'm hoping that they can, take note of it, that don't drive 30 in a 50-mile zone.
Or don't drive 100 in a 50 mile.
It doesn't make it any safer for you.
Right.
All
right, let's take this other caller as we talk to Nobi. Hey, good afternoon. Welcome.
Good afternoon, Mr. Sterling.
Good afternoon, sir. How are you today?
I'm great, man. I'm great. Yourself?
Oh, man. Listen, I'm blessed. I got good people in my life, man. So thank you again.
Happy to hear that. This is Kennedy Banks or Clyde. Nobi, good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
How are you doing?
Okay.
Okay. Nobi, I wish you all the best in your business.
Yes, sir.
And just to comment a couple of things that you brought up a little earlier. Primarily the lopping of the trees, not only by CUC and by some of the other utility companies and some government agencies. It is a shame, and I think that CUC, as an example, should have its own right of way that it put its utility poles on, and not have to stick everything in government, road, or on private property. And if there are some trees that you think that definitely need to be preserved, if you talk to the landowner and they're also in agreement, you can then go to planning and apply for what they call a tree preservation order. Once that tree preservation order is placed on that particular tree, then all agencies have to respect that.
This is very good. Thank you for telling me that. As much as I've been out there, no one has told me this before, but I'm sure there's a lot of other people might know, but thank you for pointing that out.
You're most welcome, sir.
Yeah. But the tree that I'm referring to, the funny thing about it is that's on Crown land. It's across the road from the Collier's Public Beach, right? And even the representative, the MP, is aware of that tree, and I think he shares a similar view of mine that we should be protecting it. But that's the funny thing to me. Why can't, if we have DOE, we have these agencies all around that are government agencies or related, they should, and they have government property, they should be looking at these things. But why is it that I agree that we have preserved some trees, but there are some trees that I don't even know what they are. I've heard the name of them. They're being protected. But we know sea grape, and we know the difference between a sweet one and a not so sweet one. And right, and when we find a good one, shouldn't we preserve that? That's the thing with me,
Yes, definitely. I couldn't agree more. I'm actually out trying to grow one in my yard. I'm being fairly successful. It's coming to come.
Yeah, keep at it. I have a whole bunch of them in my yard, and I went and get from the white sea grape and planted them, and now I'm getting the benefit of them because they're all coming, fruitless on them, and they're sweet. The first couple of years they weren't as sweet, but they're sweeter now. But the other thing that I get from it is I have a lot of parrots in my yard, and they're attracted to the sea grape. So and just to point out something, and not that I'm trying to be point out in a negative way of the parrot sanctuary, which is a great thing, but just to let you know another reason why they shouldn't be cutting down these trees, right, is that the parrot sanctuary goes around almost every morning and cuts down the green sea grape on these trees so that they can feed the parrots at their sanctuary, right? So again, you see, if we cut down the tree, we're not gonna have any sea grape for them to feed on.
I know.
Right? But sorry for cutting you out. I know you got some good input there, sir.
A number of things I could talk about as well, but No, it is your show, so I don't want to eat your lunch.
Okay. Thank you.
I just want to also that I agree with the principle that Mario Ebanks and Mario Rankin just a little earlier. I would go a bit further when it comes to transporting using private vehicles to transport children to and from school. I think that all children going to school should be bused. It should be illegal for you to take your children to school in your private vehicle. You go on a bus and that's it.
Gotcha.
No bus, you stay home and you school home. Or you're homeschooled.
That's a good way to control it.
I'm not sure I would support that, but that is me.
A lot of people.
I mean, if you could do that, then let me not go there because that might really influence on people.
Again, just to talk about the tree preservation order. If your MP knows about it and is partially in agreement with it, then I would say about I wouldn't say 50% of the battle, but maybe 49% of the battle won.
Yeah. But
so go for it, man. And again, congrats and keep it up.
Yeah, man. But just before you go, just one more bit in there, just to clarify and stuff. There's a little bit more to it because the other trees that we're seeing damages at the Collier's Pond, which is up a little bit from that. It's just so strange because it's in the same area, and we really want to see. I am keen on seeing the Collier's Pond be not just preserved, like someone has been telling me that it's preserved internationally. I want to see it owned by the government so that we can have access to it. And what I think is happening, I haven't spoken about this yet, is that the landowner is now, because I saw some markers there and the trees cut down, the landowner is probably about to put a fence or a wall up there. It's a long area that they have different things down. So that means that anybody that want to go there to the pond might not be. I'm just saying, I'm speculating because I don't know what's going on. You won't have access. But if government own it, then we will all have access to it. Right? That's what my overall intent is, to see government own it.
Right. And now, respectfully, sorry, any other quick comments we want before we go to the...
One last quick one. I say, again, that's why I support the idea of like a land bank, where government use some funds to keep buying these properties, not only the environmental fund, which has a limited scope as to what it can be spent on.
Yeah.
So you have a general land bank fund. You go and buy properties so that they're
I think
future generations of Caymanians.
I think they are working on that, to be honest, because they just bought a few pieces of land in East End and in Cameron, right? And I think they're going around the island buying different areas. But again, what has to happen is that it has to be consultation with the people, and and I'm keen on that. Even though I'm talking about it, if the people of East End don't think that Collier's Pond needs to be preserved, then I don't think that the government should go with me. But I'm bringing to light something for them, because if we have other consultants and other people come to Cayman and tell us what we can preserve or what we shouldn't, why can't I, as someone who's out there living in a district, and see that this thing is a very positive thing for us in the long run, you know?
All right, gents, thanks very much, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
It's news time. Thanks.
Okay.
For news time. Have a great weekend.
You too, man.
You too. All right, with that, we'll pause quickly, and when we come back, more talk today.
A caring and community spirit, cherished family and cultural values. These are some of the things that still embodies the Caymanian way of life in the Eastern Districts today. Savannah Pharmacy, your neighborhood pharmacy, located in Countryside Shopping Village, is delighted to offer products and services of real value. Whether it's catering to your family's medical needs or carrying apparel, gifts, and beauty products, Savannah Pharmacy provides you with more than just prescriptions. Remember, they're always just around the corner with everything your family needs and convenient opening hours, including Sundays and holidays. Savannah Pharmacy. For more information, call 946-3336.
Look at you, listening to the radio, tuning in, getting stuff done. Total doer. Maybe you're driving, maybe you're getting your oil changed or grabbing some chicken. Maybe you're doing something that's nobody's business but yours. Hey, that's cool. We're all doing something. Now you can join a whole new community of doers doing more on findyellow.com. With custom search, local experts, and trusted reviews, whatever you're doing, get it done on findyellow.com.
For the first time in over 45 years, the University College of the Cayman Islands is having an alumni homecoming gala dinner on October 28th. The event highlights the kickoff of the UCCI Alumni Network, a community of professionals helping the university and one another. If you're a UCCI graduate, join the network today and let your fellow classmates know about it. Visit ucci.edu.ky/alumni and come give us a hand with UCCI's first ever homecoming. The 8:10 a.m. weather report, Monday through Friday, is proudly sponsored by Pan American International Insurance Corporation. Pan American International Insurance Corporation, meeting the life, accident, and health insurance needs of individuals and businesses to ensure financial security and peace of mind. For more information, call 949-8304 or visit www.palig.com. That's PALIG.com.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman. Your voice, your choice.
Local, regional, international. This is Headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
Today's biggest news.
With your latest headlines, I'm Felicia Rankin-Solins. Workforce Opportunities and Residency Cayman is offering extended hours to assist Caymanian and permanent resident job seekers in registering on the Jobs Cayman portal. Extended hours are offered Saturday, August 14th at number 9 Forum Lane at Camana Bay from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. On Saturday, registration is open for last names A through Z. In international news, the partial closure of one of China's biggest cargo ports due to coronavirus has raised fresh concerns about the impact on global trade. Services were shut on Wednesday at a terminal port after a worker was infected with the Delta variant of COVID-19. The closure threatens more disruption to supply chains ahead of the key Christmas shopping season. Population shifts revealed by the 2020 census herald changes to come in the U.S. politics as the country becomes more diverse, experts say. The number of Americans who identify as white has fallen below 60% for the first time, and population growth is being driven by ethnic minorities. Results of the once-in-a-decade count will be used to draw voting districts ahead of next year's midterm elections. Britney Spears' father has agreed to step down as the singer's conservator, pledging to participate in an orderly transition to a new legal arrangement. The pop star's lawyer said it was a major victory for Britney Spears and another step towards justice. These are your latest headlines. I'm Felicia Rankin-Solins.
For the latest in news and information,
follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, radiocayman.gov.ky. The Department of Education Services and the Public Health Department would like to inform parents that health screening for new students will take place during the summer until August 23rd across Grand Cayman schools. The Public Health Department will be visiting your district schools and will be contacting you regarding school health screening appointment. Health screenings will also continue during September and October for those children who were not screened during the summer. Each Tuesday and Thursday from 7:30 a.m. to 9 a.m.
The Tuesday and Thursday edition of The Business Buzz is brought to you by Lee's Office Products, offering the best products at the most competitive prices, satisfaction guaranteed, and great service. Telephone 949-2303.
Busy. Feel like there's not just enough hours in the day. Savannah Pharmacy, service to make your life easier. Now you can WhatsApp your prescription order to 929-5045. And pickup is just around the corner with everything your family needs and convenient opening hours including Sundays and holidays. WhatsApp your prescription order to 929-5045. Savannah Pharmacy, wholesome values with modern conveniences.
Explore your history. Explore your land. Explore your sister islands, the ultimate staycation experience. Your culture, your freedom, the land that time forgot isn't gone. It's your sister islands.
Discover all that our sister islands have to offer.
King Sports Center takes pride in being more than just an ordinary gymnasium. For 14 years, their multi-purpose facility has been providing the community with a variety of sporting, recreational, and relaxation activities. King Sports Center has a bowling alley, lounge bar, multi-purpose rooms, powerhouse gym, rock climbing wall, bungee jumping, a 10,000 square foot rink, and so much more. For more information on the variety of services, call their friendly staff today at 946-5464 or email kings@candw.ky or visit www.kingsportscenter.com. King Sports Center, your one-stop shop for fitness, recreation, and relaxation.
Spend quality time with your child to show you care about their health, wellness, and success. Celebrate their achievements, forgive their mistakes, listen to them when they have a problem, and show interest in how they plan to solve it. Young people are more likely to listen when their parents are engaged. They know you're on their side. Talk with your child early about making health-conscious decisions for life. For tips, log on to www.ndc.ky. This message was brought to you by the National Drug Council and Radio Cayman.
Join us on Tuesday and Thursday at 7:30 a.m. on Radio Cayman for The Business Buzz. The Business Buzz is produced by Susan Watson and hosted by Anita Khan, who brings her own unique, enthusiastic, and engaging perspective to The Business Buzz. Tune in as we put a spotlight on a wide cross-section of businesses in the Cayman Islands. Every Tuesday and Thursday at 7:30 a.m. on Radio Cayman.
Attention, tourism displaced workers. As we work towards our border reopening, we invite you to register on Jobs Cayman to see the hundreds of jobs available. Work is offering extended hours to assist Caymanian job seekers in registering and will provide the necessary guidance until finding full-time employment. Visit www.worc.ky or follow work on Facebook to see the dates for extended hours and documentation required for registration.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back, and thanks for joining us. And in the studio, Sheen, Nobi, Edwards, and before we go to the phones, Nobi, I appreciate the compliment, man. Any of your thoughts? Some more thoughts from you?
Yeah, basically my thoughts are, the previous caller said, about my tour company or what have you. But, this whole thing about the environment has always been a passion of mine. And anybody that would see things around their area being destroyed, they would actually want to see it sorted out, right? Mm-hmm. And, I'm just bringing awareness to people about what I'm seeing in my area and, the good things and the bad things. We can't just always be good and always be bad. But, in terms of ecotourism or in a business, I think that the ecotourism is everybody's business. And I think anybody that could get into it, locals especially, and sort of push their experiences to all of our guests would be a great thing. So it's not just about my company, it's about everybody else that could be into it.
Yeah, man.
But somebody has to pave the way. Someone has to realize that this is something. Ecotourism is a big thing around the world.
Yeah.
Just not in Cayman. Yeah.
Just not in Cayman. All right, let's hit the phones. Good afternoon. Welcome. Thanks for calling.
Hello.
Hi. What's up? Always good to have you.
Was Mr. Clyde on a while ago?
That was
okay, the rest there, the one and only. Good afternoon, Mr. Clyde. You need to call more often. Every time you open your mouth publicly, I learn something that I want to hear. Yeah. So thank you again today. Bye-bye.
Yeah. All right, thank you too.
Yeah.
But your push, this is where I really appreciate the tenacity the resilience, and the consistency. You're speaking not only to the history and the culture and the importance of tourism for us to be ambassadors, your willingness to step away from sort of your financial training and qualification to follow your passion, as it were. But they're championing for the environment. Just the trees alone. For some, they may look at it and go, well, yeah, it's a tree, but it's just a tree. Yeah. But it's not just a tree. And it's not just because, well, if you remember biology and, a little bit of that, the trees and the oxygen, the carbon dioxide, there's something there that we need, that they do, and that's important. But it's more than that. Yeah. And we're just destroying it.
Well, I'm seeing the eco-tourism aspect, the trees and everything, tying in to our culture and heritage. That's what I'm seeing.
Mm-hmm.
Because, of course, mangoes, June plum, cocoa plum, sea grape is a part of what we grew up with.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just trying to blend that all together and try to make it something that we can say, give people an experience,
mm-hmm.
or for people to save that experience, because sooner or later I think it'll be gone.
It just might be, a couple of WhatsApp messages here that I want to share with some of our listeners. We were talking earlier about the school buses, and this listener says, why can't a policy be put in place for cars to pass the bus after the children have crossed the road? Not just stop, but just wait. Let's take this other callers though. Hey, good afternoon, welcome, thanks for calling.
Yeah, afternoon, Wayne and Novi.
Good afternoon, man.
Here, man. Hope all is well with you guys.
All right, man. How are you?
Just about. Any better couldn't stand it. Put it that way. Any better couldn't stand it.
That's good, man.
Yeah, I'll not be long. I know we talking about the traffic issues with the school, and I guess like yourselves, we all have experience of either dropping children or being children ourselves and having to deal with it. But if you really, analyze what's going on, it seems like you complain about people driving fast and reckless, etc. But when you look at the traffic problem, to be honest with you, it seems that the reckless people are the ones who are holding up the traffic, the slow drivers, people that now don't know where they're going. And in other jurisdictions, you would hear horns constantly honking, trying to push them out of the way. Here, people just sit there. You're wondering why all of a sudden there shouldn't be any traffic in the road, but it's still taking you, say, 5 minutes, 20 minutes to get to your destination, because somebody up in front is just deciding they're going to go their speed. Yep. There needs to be some minimum speed regardless of where it is. Just like we have maximum speeds, we need minimum speed.
Correct.
And I'm quite sure if they gave out tickets for minimum speeds, it will be tenfold the speeders by far.
Yep.
Because I myself, I can tell you I'm guilty of it. I had time off. I took a day off one day, and I decided, you know what, I'm going town today. And instead of me doing 40, I'm going to do 30. And I'm going to speed up when I need to speed up and hold up traffic behind me just to frustrate people, And it works. And you have people that actually do that, And it doesn't affect the people behind you. It affects a constant ripple across the island from different areas, And that is something we need to look at as these people that are driving too slow and holding up traffic. Because no matter how many roads we build, we have more roads than definitely we got cars now, and we still got a traffic problem. So it tells us that there are people that are on the road that aren't moving sufficiently enough to keep the roads free. And in the U.S. and places, you find them driving around. There's a patrol car that drives around full speed around the traffic to make sure that they're not these people holding up traffic, and they get you out of the way to make sure that these things are consistent. So with that said and done, and of course talking about the parrots, moving off the school subject a second, the population of the Cayman parrot seems, at least to me, it seems to be making a comeback to what it used to be back in the early days, 70s, 80s, so forth and prior, I guess. Even back then, people were still shooting them and getting rid of them because they were eating up crops. But they managed to thrive. We see their environment constantly being torn down. Of course, they have to move into the farmers' areas, etc. But, it's good to see that the population are coming back. I can't disagree with the farmer. If they're becoming his number one enemy and he needs to eradicate them, I don't know whether killing them is the right thing or finding another way to protect his trees, etc. is another way. But all these things, as far as I'm concerned, they're good. When we see nature itself, thriving and making a comeback, especially with a national bird like the Cayman parrot. I feel bad even capturing them and keeping them in captivity. I prefer just watch them land in my yard when I feel like. But away from that, like I said, gentlemen, I won't say anymore, but I really think the traffic problem really leads down to people driving slow, whether they deliberately or just honestly, unintentionally holding traffic up. But that needs to be addressed very quickly. And when they do that, they will see a better traffic system. Because not just talking about too much cars and too much drivers, it's the people that are driving slow that are holding us up.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Well, with that said, gentlemen, I'll let you get back. I want to thank you for the time.
No, thank you. Thank you for listening.
Safe weekend.
Amen. You too, man. You too. Amen.
Yeah,
but the caller is right. Even the Marius comment earlier that, they inconsiderate drivers, too fast, too slow, stopping and talking. A couple of other callers, no we?
Yeah, wow.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome. Thanks for calling.
Good afternoon to you, Sterling Green. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Here is you. It's always good to hear him on there.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Thank
you, sir. As well.
His business that he does. Courage is the important keyword. I agree with that caller about the slow drivers who can hold you back.
Yeah.
But we definitely have too many cars for the roads. We can't keep building roads. We have to have the courage to limit importation drastically, not just a little bit, drastically. It can be done. It can be done. It should be done. And not everyone should be able to own a car, just like they do in other small territories. So you have to limit that. People just buying a car to sell it the next day and so forth, importing it. That should never be. That should never be. That must stop. We can have a ferry system. We did have, Mr. Cecil Fox comes to mind, from Rum Point there into Tropical Gardens, there, Mr. Mike Simmons' place. There used to be from there about 50 years ago, and so worked. And he could have one coming from East End now with better vessels, bigger vessels. You could have it. Not everybody's going to get seasick at all coming over. It's mostly smooth days and all that. That would alleviate quite a bit of the traffic on the road. And yes, a proper public bus system. That can be done, subsidizing the present guys and making strict controls, strictly run by the government, strictly overlooked by the government. It can be done. It's quite simple. That they do. These poor people have to have a bus on holidays, going to work, and late on Saturday and so forth, going from the eastern direction where I work and go up there. I see it all the while down. I feel very sorry for them. They can't get a bus, and they have to be waiting after working so many hours in the day trying to get to work. But on holidays, on Sundays and so forth, people have to work every day here. There are people who work every day. So we can alleviate these problems just with courage, sitting down and doing it. And we can do it, It takes the courage and the people behind you. One of the things I've always said, human rights is great, but when it transcends the right of the majority, and we tend to look at the perpetrator's right more than the people who have committed crime against, and we're worried about them being rehabilitated and so forth. And let us worry about the people whose rights have been transgressed upon and trampled upon and suffered, and then we can worry about the transgressor afterwards, the perpetrators of crime. I believe we have to think carefully about that. The same thing with the vaccine thing. We cannot let a few people's rights supersede the rights of the majority. Let's get this thing done, and let's get people
So
vaccinated.
What is it that we're getting done? You say let's get this thing done, but what is it that we're getting done?
Pardon me?
Sorry, I was just trying to... Yeah, you're saying let's get this thing done, but what is it that you're referring to?
What I just talked about with all these issues with the cars.
Everything. Okay.
Also with the vaccine thing. Let's get it done. We know we need to do this.
What is that? What is that we're getting done? Forcing people to take something?
We're going to try to reach the 80% that we need. We need to get it done, and we need to get people behind us and stop.
So we got to force something?
Progress and yes, I believe in that. And there are others who.
So we should force castration. Maybe we should take people out in the street and hang them because we don't like the color of their skin. Maybe their hair isn't long enough. I mean, where does it stop?
Sir Long, come on. Let's stop that nonsense.
No, that's not nonsense, sir. If we're going to force people to do things, today it's this and tomorrow is that nobody can eat pork or everybody must eat pork. I mean, it starts with one thing, but where does it stop?
There comes a time in life when people have to be disciplined themselves to know that a disciplined, orderly society is the only society that will survive. Right? There has to be certain laws, certain things invoked, certain systems that have to be followed for us.
So tomorrow we're going to pass a law that say you can't talk anymore. That's it. We don't want to hear from you, me, or Nobi. That's the law as of 3 o'clock today. Would that be right?
Erling Green, I know you'd say something like that. The ultra-liberal way is not the way.
It's not ultra-liberal.
It's not. It is ultra-liberal, what you're saying.
No,
if
sir.
I'm going to stop talking, then who? That is such. Listen to me. If I'm going to say anything I want to say, you wouldn't have those cautions before your program.
Actually, I wouldn't have them at all if it left to me, but that'd be ultra-liberal, right?
So we should be able to get on your program and say anything, spread any lies, spread anything, say anything, curse bad words on anything. Is that what you're saying?
No, sir. That's common decency and common sense.
To me like that's what you're saying.
No, but are you saying that we're forcing people and the 1 or 2 or 102, however number, they should not have a right to choose a particular course of medical treatment? They're a cancer patient who's facing death, but refusing to take chemo or some experimental drug or whichever, for whatever reason, they're not allowed to do that.
Their life. That is their personal life.
So should they not be able, because of their personal life, their personal choice, not to take this injection?
And it involves the lives of other people and the risk of other people.
But that doesn't make much sense, sir, because if you get the vaccination, if it is as such, then that should make you protected. If it isn't, then it isn't. And so that is where people are asking, where should their rights and freedoms be abridged or where they should be protected?
We can always ask that as long as the world exists. But we have to think, when it comes to the public health of the country, the majority must prevail.
The public health or the economic well-being?
Just it works both ways.
No, sir.
Good public health brings about good economic wealth, and you know that also. There's no use in trying to throw that mix into the picture. We know what you're trying to do here.
But good economic well-being brings about public health?
I'm not going to sit with you and argue all
No, I don't want to be disrespectful to you.
Your valuable time. But that is what I'm saying. That is my belief, my opinion. I know there's people who get on your show, they pretend that their opinion is absolute and that they're omniscient. I'm not omniscient. I tell you my opinion,
yes, sir.
And that's my belief, and I stand by it. I stand beside it. You cannot let a minority overrule the wish and wills of the majority and what is good for the public health of this country. That is my opinion.
Yes, sir.
I stand by that. I'm not willing to say one bit from it.
No, your
Thank
opinion.
you very much. Have a wonderful day. Bye.
All right, sir. Thank you. And Nobi, 2:23 on a Friday afternoon. I don't know why a chocolate sounding better all the time. But you and before we ask you your comment, the last caller wasn't meant to be overly disrespectful either. But opinions are such. But I appreciate your championing of some would see it as the trees, the constant call for the preservation of whether it's Colliers, whether it's Sea Pond, whether it's Barkas, whether it's Barefoot Beach, or whether it's even the 7 Mile Beach, whether it's the accesses to the lands or otherwise. So, I don't know, my friend. I don't know.
I mean, my championing is, I'm trying not to be too forceful because people, like I said, a lot of people may say, you're trying to push on us to save these trees when we want to sell our property to make money, or we want to develop and provide a very nice quality home, and that would be the beauty of the area. I'm just saying there's some things we have to preserve. one of the things that they've been talking about with this vaccine is that it takes away your body's natural ability to ward off some other kind of viruses or other kind of things. There's a natural part of everything. I don't know if that's what happened yet. I took the vaccine, so
we'll see.
But I think that I definitely need to take the vaccine because that's all it is right now.
Yeah, and that's a personal choice that you made, right? From an informed perspective, and that's fine.
Exactly.
Everybody,
But honestly, it took a while because I was very worried about the body's natural ability to ward off. And it's the same way with the environment. We got to be concerned. We have this issue with the 7 Mile Beach that I'm almost sure that it's something happened there that isn't natural that caused this to erode away the way it is. And we had the call from our consultant, our local consultant that walks the beach every day the other day, and he said it's the walls. And he repeated that to me again. So I don't know. I mean, but the logic he's pointing out seems to have some logic, right? So it's something that's not natural. Everywhere that we can keep something natural, preserve what we have, I think is a good thing as much as we can.
Well, if you don't, as I read this message, look at what we have and try our best to not just promote it, protect it, preserve it, then at what point when it's gone, is it too late? You can't unring the bell, fair enough, but can you get to a point where you protect what you have so that you don't have to worry about it? You're talking about endangered species, but is it because we weren't respectful enough to begin with? Our parents and grandparents and their parents and grandparents, for the most part, were very mindful of the resources they had. Yes, for a while they looked at it, some of them, and they'll share that with you. Counts for other ways, they say. Yeah. But at some point, they started to appreciate that wasn't the case. And it may be that we need to be a little bit more diligent with some of the things in terms of preservation and protection. But through education, we might be able to promote a healthier, what's the word we use? More sustainable. Not sure. Somebody has to be a champion, right? Somebody has to advocate.
I think we have a lot of champions out there, and one of those is the Premier, who has been at this for quite some time, and I'm not able to buy the kind of properties that I understand that he has bought to preserve, but at the end of the day, at least that person understands what it means to protect and preserve something in Cayman, and we can all be a part of that by even just our actions and by speaking out about it like I'm doing. So I'm hoping that more people out there, more locals, because most of the people that seem to be in this conservation effort, I don't see a lot of our own locals out there being active. And I'm hoping that more locals would see the need to, separate your plastics and other stuff. Plant some more trees. Try to enjoy the local fruits and different things around. And sometimes maybe want to go fishing.
And catch some.
We can't go anywhere. We're in a bubble, right? So just try and enjoy what we got.
Well, I don't think if we are responsible enough, if we're not respectful enough, and we're not receptive enough, then we will find a place where we don't have anything.
Yeah. Well, what do you realize what happened in this period of time since the pandemic? During the pandemic, they launched the new conservation efforts for the mangroves, also for outlining the marine parks. All that happened during this pandemic. So it said to me that somebody up there realized that we needed to preserve these things. Someone realized that we needed to take that step now and not later.
But it also could mean, as someone shared, that all of a sudden people weren't so rushed and stressed and stretched. They had some time that the things that they wanted to get to, they were actually able to get to. On a personal perspective, many probably would have read more books or started out writing and reading and that they've been wanting to for a long time. But maybe from the public policy, we did have this opportunity. But we appreciate your company always, man.
No problem, man.
Sparks interest and intrigue. Maybe it'll cause people to be inspired and ingratiate themselves into greater things,
Yeah, man.
You good?
I'm good, man.
All right. Got a song?
We got a song today.
We got a song today.
Did
you, Lynn? The song is good to go.
This song today is for all them people that driving slow. We got a fast car.